Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. On this presentation, we focus on the activities of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa this past week. And as you will see in this report, he has been rather busy, ending his week of activities on Saturday with distribution of flood relief on the west side, Region 3, and we'll be hearing a bit about that in this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture. We are just about beginning into the 10th day of Agriculture Month 2021. A lot of virtual events are taking place. On Saturday next, we have the virtual launch of World Food Day celebrations this year. There will also be a number of other virtual programs taking place. A limited number of face-to-face interactions are also taking place across the country. Small groups hosted by the various agencies of the Ministry of Agriculture. So your local listings are able to advise as to where those events are taking place in case some of you may want to participate in those face-to-face interactions, taking many forms. Alright, This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based in East Rabies. We will be back after these messages.
The Ministry of Agriculture invites you to join, in celebration of Agriculture Month 2021, a mostly virtual, month-long series of activities and events showcasing Guyana's development on the agriculture front, under the theme, Transforming Our Food Systems, Achieving Food and Nutrition Security. It all begins Friday, October 1st with a virtual opening program set for 10 hours, broadcast on television and streamed on all social media platforms. Key events for Agriculture Month include virtual tours and exhibitions showcasing the work of the various agencies and stakeholder groups in promoting and facilitating the development of agriculture in Guyana. The annual Caribbean Week of Agriculture is set for October 4-8 under a virtual setting. On October 16th, there will be a virtual presentation to mark World Food Day 2021, which is being observed under the theme, Our Actions Are Our Future, Better Production, Better Nutrition, Better Environment, and Better Life. Agriculture Month 2021, a COVID-safe look at agriculture on the move to a bright and prosperous future. Look for a detailed schedule of events on local broadcast, print and social media platforms.
Farmers and the members of the public in general are being advised that tampering with drainage and irrigation structures in any way is prohibited under the Drainage and Irrigation Act. So too are practices that result in damage to access dams, such as using an inadequate length of tube to irrigate farmlands, resulting in erosion of the earthen dams. Also contrary to the Drainage and Irrigation Act is the practice of erecting structures or planting on government reserves. This will not be condoned. These reserves are to be clear at all times to provide access for the excavation of the channels. Livestock farmers should also be aware that they are liable for any damages caused by their cattle or swine to dams or reserves alongside D&I channels, as is the case when the animals cross these channels. Individuals wishing to erect bridges across D&I structures should first contact the NDIA before doing so. Those found guilty under the Act are liable to fines and imprisonment for up to 3 months. A message from the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
Rabies is a disease that is almost always fatal, but is 100% preventable. It is a disease that affects humans and all other warm-blooded animals. The GLDA wishes to stress that a rabies outbreak can result in the deaths of the animals, inclusive of horses, cattle, and small ruminants, leading to economic losses. Further, rabies is a zoonotic disease and can be transmitted to humans, resulting in fatalities. The GLDA is urging cattle farmers, especially those in regions 2, 3, 6, and 9, to vaccinate all their animals that are 3 months and older against rabies immediately and on a yearly basis. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
The Ministry of Agriculture joins with the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization FAO in celebration of World Food Day 2021, October 16, a key part of Agriculture Month observances every year. Because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, this year's celebration will be held virtually with several exhibitions and workshops showcasing food production systems that impact food and nutrition security. The theme for this year's observance is Our Actions Are Our Future. Better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life. The virtual opening program will be broadcast on local television and radio stations and on all social media platforms Saturday, October 16. Check local listings for a detailed schedule of virtual World Food Day activities. Agriculture Month this year is off to a flying start, with Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa participating in several virtual interactive sessions that included aspects of the just concluded Caribbean Week of Agriculture. He began his week of activities on Monday, October 4, when he accompanied Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo for meetings across Region 6. Key meetings were held with fisherfolk and with severed sugar workers. It was during these interactions that the Vice President announced that workers of the estates closed by the APNU AFC coalition would receive an additional $250,000 from government. Dr. Jagdeo also assured former estate workers that government will soon implement a temporary work program to assist persons who are unemployed to benefit from weekly employment and the source of income. This message was also taken to Wales at West Bank Demerara, where all were given assurances by the Vice President and Agriculture Minister that government is committed to ensuring that every citizen in Guyana is given the resources and wherewithal to earn a living wage and take care of their family. Following a visit to the GRDB's Lesby Holden substation recently, the Agriculture Minister has announced that GRDB's seed paddy facility, located at Lesby Holden, Blackbush Boulder in Region 6, will be put to use for the first time in a few months. The Lesby Holden seed processing facility was commissioned in 2008 but was never used. Minister Mustafa had toured the facility and ordered that whatever remedial work necessary to have the plant up and running be done immediately, so that farmers can have the use of the facility in the shortest possible time. The seed paddy facility and GRDB's rice variety trial plots are located in the same compound with Nari substation, which features a plant nursery that now includes not only fruit seedlings but vegetable seedlings as well. The non-use of the facility was first disclosed to Minister Mustafa back in April. During his first tour of the facility, he had then expressed disappointment that the plant was never utilized, putting to waste the millions spent in ensuring the facility was outfitted with state-of-the-art equipment. During his tour over the weekend, the minister stressed that with plans in train for a doubling of current rice production levels, seed processing plants such as the one in question was vitally important. Once the seed processing facility is up and running, it would significantly improve the GRDB's capacity to produce more seed paddy. According to Minister Mustafa, this is especially critical since the government of Suriname has made requests for Guyana to supply that country with quality seed paddy. So far, some $25 million have been expended on the plant in order to have it up and running in just under 2 months. On September 5, officials from the Caribbean Agriculture Research and Development Institute, CARDI, handed over a quantity of pepper seeds that were produced by the institute to assist the government here with ongoing flood relief efforts. In accepting the donation on behalf of his ministry, Agriculture Minister Mustafa expressed his thanks on behalf of the government, noting that partnership such as the one enjoyed with CARDI is critical to the agriculture sector, especially during national disasters, as was the case recently with the widespread flooding. Also visiting the office of the Agriculture Minister on October 5 was a delegation from the Chilean embassy. During discussions with Minister Mustafa, the delegation shared their ideas on possible areas of collaboration to improve the operations of the Guyana Food Safety Authority, GPSA. The Food Safety Authority
is an agency under the Ministry of Agriculture that aims to protect the health and well-being of consumers by promoting and ensuring food safety along the food chain through the integrated and coordinated approach. On October 7, Minister Mustafa and delegation traveled to the East Coast Demerara community of Cove and John, where he met and interacted with residents and farmers there about issues of concern to them. Residents there were loud in their praise of government for the infrastructural upgrades executed to D&I structures in the community. They, however, raised a number of additional issues they would like addressed as soon as possible. Among the requests made by rice farmers of the Cove and John community was for the establishment of a drying floor so that farmers can dry their paddy in a safe environment rather than at the side of the road. In this regard, the minister indicated that once the land for a drying floor is identified and the requisite permissions locked in, government would fund the construction of the facility for the farmers there. Farmers also asked for the NDIA to have a look at a sluice in the area that is not efficient in draining water, as oftentimes the water backs up and ends up in the farmer's field instead of draining out to the ocean. Here again, the minister promised immediate action in having the issues addressed.
There are a lot of issues with you here in the community, and I think that I want you all to farm yourself in a group, a farmers group. You already have a CDC that is looking after the interests of the residential area.
Yes.
You hear the young man talk about the drain here.
Right.
Now we will work with all the groups.
Right.
We will work with the CDC.
Right.
The CDC normally work directly with the Ministry of Local Government. The Ministry of Local Government, they have a department that works with the CDC.
Right.
They have officers. Now I want you all to farm yourself in a farmers group.
Right.
That means cash crop, rice, and livestock farmers.
Yeah.
And you all must come together. I will send back the staff them to farm this group.
No, Minister, we get the farmers group.
Right?
Right, presently.
Who is the farmers group? Who is the chairman?
The chairman cutting rice right now.
And who is the secretary?
Everybody, all of them cutting rice right now.
No, but you can't tell me you got a farmers group when I come in here today and the chairman cutting the rice.
Yeah,
But comrade, you got to get, No, but the thing can't work like that. Listen. Listen, we are farm back a group. If the people that want that farm, the chairman, they will put it. Right?
Okay.
I will send back my staff to farm a group here, a farmers group.
Yeah.
We will work with that farmers group.
Okay.
That farmers group will help us to monitor the situation in this area. Now, for example, the machine that are working here from the NDIA, the farmers group will help us to monitor it. So you'll have oversight.
Correct.
So the operators wouldn't say that they can't do the work. You all will help us to supervise the machine and the operators.
Right.
You will help us to monitor the fuel.
Right.
So that people can't steal the fuel and sell out the fuel. You will help us to monitor the operation of the machine. So if the machine has to work 8 hours per day, it has to work 8 hours. Right? At the end of the month, at the end of the week, they have to produce a logbook, and we will monitor it here. Right? So that is the first thing we will do. So I want you all next week, our people, Mr. Ramraj will send back the team to form this farmers group.
Okay.
And this farmers group will be responsible to help us to monitor the area. Okay. Now the other thing we all talk about, I will look to leave the machine to ensure that the technical people then work along with you all, and the machine must work and do the work for you all in the community.
Thank you.
Right? So that we will ensure that we give you all proper drainage and irrigation.
Thank you.
Our budget is almost exhausted now in terms of maintenance. But I want to tell you that when we budget next year, we'll have the farmers to clean the trench. Right, Dave? We'll give you all to clean the trench and we'll pay you a maintenance cost, so that also, whilst you're cleaning the trench for the satisfaction of the farmers, at the same time the people who are cleaning the trench will have payments too.
Okay.
Right? We'll have payments. So we'll put that in the system. We'll build a gate for y'all, that y'all ask that animals are destroying the crops.
Yeah.
Right? And we are coming close, very close, to conclude our budget. You remember, we have to plan now.
Right.
So we can't do the structure that you all talking at the back there, the check structure that you all said of water coming in from the back. But we'll look at it in our next year's budget to see if we can do it for you all. But you all have to cooperate too. You can't work like this by your own and by individually, because you can't get things done properly. Right? So we from the Ministry of Agriculture, we'll work with everybody. We'll work with everybody, but you all have to work honestly with us. Because sometimes farmers, when they go in communities, farmers pull for themselves. We can't operate like that. Right? If you all want development here, I will assure you that we'll bring development to the community, but you all have to work together and work as groups. You can't work individually. Right? And you all and hope when the officers them come, we will you all come out and let's get the group. Everybody, and I want women to be in the group too, not only men. Right? Women function sometimes better than men, most of the time better than men. So let me get the women to be in the group too. And all the excavation work, I am asking our people to ensure that we do all the work before we move out the machine.
Okay.
And I want you all to monitor the machine, and we'll change the operator. Where Mr. Hicks? We'll change the operator. If you all have an operator in the community, you all recommend it, and if the person can pass the test, the trade test, then we can employ that person. Right? If the person living in the community.
Okay.
Right? So we need you all to help us like that. Now those persons who would have suffered losses, we haven't had extensive flooding in Region 4, let me be very frank. I walk the length and breadth of this country, all the 10 administrative regions. Region 4 was not flooded out like the other regions. You know why? Because of the Hope Canal. Right? When we were building the Hope Canal, when President Jagdeo was building the Hope Canal, people say you're wasting the government money. You all see the result? The vision. That is why our president now said that we will build 3 other canals like those in Region 3, Region 5, and Region 6 to mitigate the flooding. If that canal was not there, the entire East Coast would have gone, and almost also Georgetown. But that canal, all the excess water from the Conservancy go through the Atlantic through that canal. Right? The Lamont sluice, so you have to open for flood out them people earlier the creek area there. You understand? So that we'll continue to do, but the government has been expending a lot of money in the agriculture sector. Let me tell you all something. 1 year from now, from last year when we started out, to now, you see more farmers coming in back into the agriculture sector. Why are they coming in back? Because they see a future. Guyana today is leading the agriculture agenda in the Caribbean. Guyana is pushing the food security. And there are a lot of opportunities for farmers like you all. Rice farmers, cash crop farmers, livestock farmers. And we will continue to make that kind of investment so that you can benefit. The president, our president, is very passionate about the agriculture sector in our country. He has been leading the CARICOM agenda on the agriculture. He's lead spokesperson on agriculture. He speaks on agriculture for the Caribbean. That's so high Guyana is now in the CARICOM community, in CARICOM. Guyana is leading the ministerial task force, and we are pushing this agenda. When we are doing that, you, the farmers, the local farmers will benefit. We are building agro-processing facilities for cash crop farmers to process their produce, make it more value-added. We are helping the livestock farmers to get better breeding animals, to do more, get more facilities. And also the rice farmers, we have been helping the rice farmers a lot. We are looking, next year, we are looking at a projection of 720 metric ton of rice, right? Paddy, right? 720,000 tons. 720,000 tons of rice next year. That's a projection. So if that's the case, then we have to expand next crop, because the flood would have prevented us from planting the entire crop this year. There are many areas, about how much we planted this year, about 70% or 65%? Around 65% only we were able to plant. So the point what I'm trying to make is that we will have to ensure that we expand more lands. We will have to take up more lands. And more opportunities will come your way. But we have to plant it, do it in a structured manner. We have to do it in a very structured way. We can't do it in haphazard. Agriculture now is a big business. And how we were doing things before in a long time, we can't do it like now. We can't do those things now. We have to change the way we're doing things. People are doing agriculture in a smarter way because climate change now is real. September month and October, that's been the driest month in the year. Up to now, you got rain falling because of climate change. So you can't predict the weather properly. That is why we encourage cash crop farmers to do shade house. This year alone, we'll build over 100 shade houses around the country. And we'll continue to help you all. That is why we are helping, and the extension officers, we are now revamping the whole extension services that we give. People got to be more responsible and accountable. And when you get this group, the extension officer got to come and work with you all in the group. You understand? And give you the kind of service that are needed in this community.
Some residents commented on their take of Minister Mustafa's interventions to date.
Also for the Ministry of NDIA, they're doing a good job for dealing with drainage and irrigation. And also we're fixing up the dam with the excavator.
My name is Leonard George. I normally do catch crop, permanent crop, coconut trees, fruit trees, also rear animals. Right? Since I started rearing animals, especially the animals, I always have a lot of losses, but now that this ministry here is now in place, I see a lot of progress start going on, especially with the gardening and both animals. And I'm grateful and thankful and just hoping that it's not going to only remain this way, but it's going to be better and just get more and more better. That's going to be easier for farmers, and that young farmers like me will just be motivated and come online and try to develop themselves, whereas that they could be able to benefit for themselves and provide for them and their families. That's just it.
On Friday, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa met with the Secretary of State of Agriculture, Livestock and Supply of Roraima, Brazil, Mr. Aluzio Nascimento da Silva. The meeting allowed for discussions and collaborations between the two countries to further develop agriculture and the agriculture trade. Some of the areas discussed were the large-scale production of corn and soybean, dairy and beef production, and infrastructure. Mr. Da Silva was accompanied by the president of NF Agriculture Inc., Mr. Yucatan Rees, and Ms. Eileen Heiner. Finally, on Saturday, October 9, Minister Mustafa spearheaded the flood relief distribution exercise at Wales, West Bank Demerara, in Region 3. During his address to those gathered, the Agriculture Minister stressed that the grant was only intended for persons who suffered losses during the flood. He also assured that if persons who genuinely suffered losses during the flood found that their names were not on the final list of persons to receive assistance, then such incidences, once proven, will be remedied. African swine fever is a highly contagious disease of domestic and wild pigs that is characterized by high fever, bleeding, and death within 2 to 10 days. African swine fever has been recorded in some countries of Africa, Asia, and Europe, and recently in the Dominican Republic in the Americas. Guyana is free of this devastating disease, but there is a risk for the disease introduction due to global movement of people, animals, and animal products. African swine fever is spread when pigs come into contact with contaminated pork products, feed, syringes, and infected materials, such as pigs and ticks. Pork products can carry the virus, even if they have been cooked or frozen. Humans can carry the virus on their clothing and footwear and may infect pigs that they come into contact with. Before traveling, know the disease status of the country you are visiting. Do not visit pig farms while in African swine fever affected countries. Travelers from affected countries are advised not to bring back food, pork, and pork products. Remember to properly clean, wash, and disinfect your clothing and footwear prior to returning or visiting Guyana. If you are arriving from an ASF-infected country, kindly report same to the quarantine officer on arrival and do not go near pig farms for 7 days. For further information, contact the Guyana Livestock Development Authority on telephone number 220-6556 or 7.
fax 220-6557, or email glda1910@gmail.com. Farmers and the members of the public in general are being advised that tampering with drainage and irrigation structures in any way is prohibited under the Drainage and Irrigation Act. So too are practices that result in damage to access dams, such as using an inadequate length of tube to irrigate farmlands, resulting in erosion of the earthen dams. Also contrary to the Drainage and Irrigation Act is the practice of erecting structures or planting on government reserves. This will not be condoned. These reserves are to be clear at all times to provide access for the excavation of the channels. Livestock farmers should also be aware that they are liable for any damages caused by their cattle or swine to dams or reserves alongside D&I channels, as is the case when the animals cross these channels. Individuals wishing to erect bridges across D&I structures should first contact the NDIA before doing so. Those found guilty under the Act are liable to fines and imprisonment for up to 3 months. A message from the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
Rabies is a disease that is almost always fatal, but is 100% preventable. It is a disease that affects humans and all other warm-blooded animals. The GLDA wishes to stress that a rabies outbreak can result in the deaths of the animals, inclusive of horses, cattle, and small ruminants, leading to economic losses. Further, rabies is a zoonotic disease and can be transmitted to humans, resulting in fatalities. The GLDA is urging cattle farmers, especially those in regions 2, 3, 6, and 9, to vaccinate all their animals that are 3 months and older against rabies immediately and on a yearly basis. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture.
The Ministry of Agriculture invites you to join, in celebration of Agriculture Month 2021, a mostly virtual, month-long series of activities and events showcasing Guyana's development on the agriculture front, under the theme, Transforming Our Food Systems, Achieving Food and Nutrition Security. It all begins Friday, October 1st with a virtual opening program set for 10 hours, broadcast on television and streamed on all social media platforms. Key events for Agriculture Month include virtual tours and exhibitions showcasing the work of the various agencies and stakeholder groups in promoting and facilitating the development of agriculture in Guyana. The annual Caribbean Week of Agriculture is set for October 4-8 under a virtual setting. On October 16th, there will be a virtual presentation to mark World Food Day 2021, which is being observed under the theme, Our Actions Are Our Future, Better Production, Better Nutrition, Better Environment, and Better Life. Agriculture Month 2021, a COVID-safe look at agriculture on the move to a bright and prosperous future. Look for a detailed schedule of events on local broadcast, print and social media platforms.
Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising, based in East Berbice. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder, saying so long. See you around.